Hi everyone, American Granny here. It's gotten kind of hot, so I put my hair up. But today I've been kind of taking care of me, doing a little self-maintenance. It's got to happen every couple of days or so. But I, when I do that kind of thing, I'm sitting here, I'm either crocheting something or um, while I watch YouTube. Now, I make a lot of videos about the stuff I watch. I watch a lot of Forbes breaking news on YouTube, um, mostly because they handle a lot of the congressional hearings, Senate hearings, the new bills that are coming up, and I care about that stuff. I'm an American, and especially with the bad behavior that we've had from our own government, I kind of keep tabs on what's happening to my country because a lot of people are fed up with the government. They don't think there's anything they can do. But I want to tell you something. There is something that can be done. But I'm going to tell you right now, what I'm watching right now pertains to the Hells Angels and the Venezuelan gangs that are terrorizing areas of New York, Colorado, and I think parts of Arizona. And of course, like they normally have been doing on the West Coast, all of it. But these are, to me, this is our militia, and they haven't been active in trying to protect the country. Now, when these kind of gangs were first started, it was because of veterans. They couldn't find jobs, they had no place that they fit in anymore. The social structure had changed while they were away fighting at war, and a lot of things that kept them from being able to fit back in the way they did fit here when they first were recruited. So they seen too much. They endured too much. They had to do too much. And then, of course, their own government, lots of, they dealt with a lot. So uh, I have always had a big respect for the gangs of America as far as Hell's Angels and such go. And I have to tell you, they have fought for more rights in a country that they went and bled for, cried for, prayed for, and put themselves in harm's way for. And that's still the same today with a lot of our military men who are coming home that have been in wars, that are going through a lot. So when they speak up about something, I pay attention. Now I have no badges, I have no associations. Um, the most I did was what I would call um, backyard bikers. That's when, your local community gets in out on their motorcycles and they go and cruise for some kind of benefit, like Children's Protective Services, the food banks, stuff like that. That was the gangs, or local bikers I knew. They weren't gangs. So backyard bikers, as I called them. But these are hardcore bikers. Now, I can't share this with you as far as let you see what I'm watching, because you know how YouTube is about sharing material. But I want you to hear what, since it's on a public format, I can um, let you hear what the Hells Angels message is to a lot of these Venezuelan gangs that are committing some serious problems, which of course the governments are, they're denying. Let me see if I can find it here. I had it, but then my cursor moved. No, that's not it. See, I wish I could just kind of do it slowly. Darn it. Let's see. It also looks like the Mongols, according to this video that I'm watching from JD Delay, is his channel, and so I'm going to play a little bit of it.
One in specifically who's
See
been
if I
rumored
can
to be stepping
find.
up, and we're going to talk about that right now, is the Hells Angels. So the Hells Angels are one of the first and one of the most powerful biker MCs on the entire planet. And if they're coming for you, it's already guaranteed that you need to stop, drop, roll, dig a little hole, crawl inside it, and probably die before they get their hands on you. I've worked with some of these dudes, and they were great to do business with because they acted very professionally, but they are definitely no joke, and you do not want to piss these dudes off. And the internet is exploding with rumors right now that the Hells Angels are on their way to Aurora, Colorado to deal with Tren de Agua. So let's get into this and see what we can figure out, if there's any truth to that, or if there's not, and what we think is going to happen when they face off with these Venezuelans.
Now, I want you to know I am really afraid of getting copyright because I let you hear that. It's on a public format, and I can share it to anybody, so this should not have copyright issues. But you know how YouTube can be when you share any information that you find on YouTube. On a public forum, they go screaming. Okay, so here we go. And this is J.D. Delay, D-E-L-A-Y.
Police officers, they're patrolling areas of suspected gang activity, and that includes this apartment building. This is the one at Dallas Street and 12th Avenue, where Venezuelan gang members have been caught on camera with guns breaking into units.
Wait. I thought none of this was actually happening, and everybody who was saying anything about what was going on is a racist. What happened? Oh, yeah, that's right. We caught it on video. It went national news, and now Trump and Kamala Harris are both talking about this, and it's just been established as a fact, and even the governor is talking about it. Funny how that works, huh?
But
so
it
much
wasn't
of this
happening.
has been the focus of national attention
According
this week.
to the news.
We have been reporting on this at the local level for weeks, but police now say they're there as well, engaging with residents.
Thank God. Nobody's going to have to shoot their own dog because now the cops are there to do it for them. But to be completely fair, I'm pretty sure that the cops have known that this was a real-life thing for at least a couple of weeks because they had a shootout with them. And it was established that the higher-ups in this organization have put a green light for them to attack any cops who tried to stop or pursue them while they were committing crimes.
Aurora leaders say the city, it's a safe place to live, to work, to shop.
Hey, Jax, they said it's...
All right, now I'm going to show you this channel. This is what the guy looks like. That is the owner of the channel, J.D. Delays, D-E-L-A-Y-S. No S, just delay. Okay, I am a subscriber. I do get a lot of notifications from him. So, okay, here we go.
It's completely safe to live in Aurora. Should we go buy a house there?
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, this doesn't look super safe to me either.
The video shows a group of men walking up a stairwell at the edge
This
of
is
Lowry
news.
apartment complex in Aurora. All of them appear to be carrying rifles and handguns, and the video shot earlier this month.
So I think at this point we've clearly established that if you are an American, if you are a law-abiding citizen, if you're even an American criminal, these dudes have now become the ops. So let's talk about the unsung heroes of this situation who are stepping in and are going to be doing something about this. The Hells Angels. And the internet has been flooded with rumors at this point that this is going to happen, but I have actually gotten in touch with someone who is an actual Hells Angel in the state of Colorado, and I'm going to tell you what they said. Now, the first thing that you need to understand is that if the Hells Angels want to move on these dudes in Colorado, they do not have to flood in from other states. Colorado already has multiple chapters of the Hells Angels that are there, they're ready, and they're equipped to handle business if that's what they want to do. Now, could they call in backup? Absolutely, 100%. But each chapter would have to vote on that because that's the way that they work. They have autonomy. It's not all just run by one centralized government in their organization. What my contact on the inside in Colorado has told me is that they have plans to roll up Nothing more, nothing less. And that's a direct quote. And of course, that's an intentionally vague statement, which I would expect nothing less, because what you have to understand about these organizations is they're under constant surveillance, and they're always under the threat of RICO Act, which would not only affect them, but affect their brotherhood worldwide. But what does that actually mean? All I can say on that is, if you know, you know. And a big shout out, love, and respect to all the homies out there in Colorado. I'm not going to get too deep into their politics. It's not really my business. I am not a member of their organization. But what I will say is that there is the potential for this to go higher and higher and escalate if these ops want to escalate the situation with them. In fact, other chapters from around the country have already issued a public warning to this Venezuelan gang if they don't stop, cease, and desist, like, immediately.
Let this be a lesson.
Okay, here's the...
Aurora, Colorado. Please heed my warning. I did 10 years in the joint in the state of Kentucky. I'm telling you right now, the people that are coming, known as the Hells Angels, are not to be fucked with. You are getting ready to have a large swarm of men who are like-minded, brotherhood-driven, and will not govern themselves by the laws in which that you think that they will. You are getting ready to have what's that you have never experienced in your life. And people that live on a certain side of the law may be perceived as whatever, but I promise you this. You know that you're taking advantage of defenseless people. You will be the ones calling the law. Because you do not want men like me and the people that we associate with to descend upon you. Because we will not care about evidence. We will not care about any of that shit. There will be guns. There will be knives. And there will be no more time for questions. Please leave before you force the hand of a power that you do not know the extent of how far it reaches. If you try to meet them with any type of resistance, you will die. You will die in the street. They are gonna fuck you up.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but I got...
Okay. Now, that was the video part I wanted to share with you. This guy that just spoke, you just saw, he did not claim any kind of chapters. He did, however, express that our American gangs will begin to take back their territories. Now, for me, that means a lot of our neighborhoods may turn into war zones. I've seen it happen in Texas. Citizens do die. They get caught in the crossfire. I think it was Laredo, Texas. We had some banditos and Hells Angels go head-to-head in a public restaurant. Now, this kind of warfare of what they're talking about is totally different. And these gangs coming in are going to take business away from the American gangs. And if you think they're going to allow that kind of thing, then you do not understand how gangs actually work. And in a time like this in America, you should be very grateful for the chapters that are in your local areas. The majority of them want to do their business, be left alone. The majority have gotten away from the trafficking of other people. Now, I don't know if they've gotten away from prostitution. That's always been a money bender, and there are a lot of women in these gangs as well. So this is how they make their money. So I doubt that part's gone. As far as the trafficking goes, they do traffic some stuff that has to be done so that they can stay the powerhouses that they are. Now, I am not thrilled about having to see the Hells Angels or the Mongols or the Banditos or any of these chapters have to set straight these illegal immigrant gangs, because if they do, it takes force that the police are not willing to use. Okay? Because of woke, our police are down to slapping wrists and cannot really fight back. But there are still a lot of Americans that did not jump on that bandwagon and go, anything goes. No, they still have boundaries. And boundaries, as you know, are important. But to know that these guys could activate to control these areas is, in some ways, a great relief to an American. I'm not familiar with the chapters that are around my area. We don't interact. I don't pay attention to their business, and they really don't mess with mine. So I have no issues with these gangs. I've actually lived in Hells Angels territory before, in Illinois, and my neighborhood was really relatively safe, considering we called it the United Nations, because everybody lived there. It didn't matter your nationality, it just mattered your income. And so, but if these guys have to activate, you better recognize that in some weird way, this is American militia at work. And I have never seen them in my 60 years actually think they needed to intervene. But because of what Kamala Harris and previous Democrats have done, the influx of illegal immigrants has gone berserk. And these are not good people. Brazil emptied out their prisons so they could make room for more prisoners, and shipped them off, told them, I don't care where you go, just get the hell out of Brazil. And there are videos and stuff like that that talk about how Brazil is currently still doing this. They did have a president at one time, or several, I think, but they were all massive failures, and they ended up with a dictator who was more about the citizens than he was about the criminals, and that he wanted control of the resources of the country instead of allowing criminals to have the control. And so he opened his prisons and threw a bunch of them, I think over something like 3,000 from their prisons were released outside the country. They take them to the border and at gunpoint tell them to get out or they'll shoot them. So, you leave. If you don't want to die, you leave. And this is a reality for a lot of these foreigners. The ones that are coming out of Guatemala, they knew they were going to have a big influx out of Venezuela, out of Brazil, out of their neighboring countries, moving north. And so they decided to add to that train of people by releasing a lot of their prisoners so they could open up prison space in their countries for imprisoning their own citizens. And when they do this, they also take away the citizenship. Now, a lot of people don't know this. I know in Brazil they do. I don't know about Venezuela. If you're kicked out of the country, they take away your citizenship. You can never come back. So some of these are just, they're rogue. They have no place that they belong to. And now I think it's time that the American gangs are going to either integrate them, kill them, and dissolve their chapters, take back their communities, or they'll drive them out. And those choices, for the Venezuelan gangs or any other gangs, that's what they're facing. But I've been surprised that I haven't heard more about this kind of activity since we had such a massive influx, thanks to Biden and Harris, of illegal immigrants. Now, these sanctuary states, I've discovered, have adapted their constitutions to allow these illegal immigrants that came in the country to vote in American, even though they're not citizens, but to vote in American federal and local elections. Now, if you're not a citizen in my country, I don't want you voting in my local community, and I don't want you voting in my federal community. That's my right. You can't take away all my rights because you showed up. And that is the American way. So when people say, "Oh, you're a racist," you know what? We are so thick-skinned about it. It's only our kids that have not developed the thick skin yet to being called racist. We don't give a crap about you being a racist or what race you are. It doesn't matter to us. What does matter is that you integrate into our society, not become a burden on it, and not become a plague on it. That's what Americans care about. At least that's what this American cares about. When you come into a new country and you're not even planning on getting citizenship because you want to keep your citizenship from your other country, go back there or get a work visa. But those are limited. If you can't find a job in a certain amount of time, you have to leave the country. And we've really failed, our laws have really failed to be enforced when it comes to that, because everybody screams cruelty. Now, do you think it's cruel, or do you think it's protecting Americans? I don't see it as cruel. When someone has a deliberate intent to come to my country and change its growth and its greatness to match the country they fled, I don't want that. That's nonsense to me. If you didn't like it there, you're not going to like it when you get it in here. So adjust or go back to your homelands. And I don't ever want to see another flag from another country being waved in my face ever again. You're not an American. You don't belong here. And if you're promoting your country, you better get your get your tail back over the border, back into your own country, and make changes there. You leave my country alone. If you're waving an American flag, I'll respect you. You wave in some other flag, I'm going to tell you where you belong, and it's not here. And that is how Americans truly feel, the majority, at least in the areas and the people I talk to. We have a right to our country as much as you have a right to yours. And if you've abandoned your country, don't you dare bring the bad garbage from that country here. You have no right to do that. Okay, that was the video I wanted to share with you. And I really hope that it kind of helped you understand that you may end up in a war zone to try and get these gangs either out or suppressed to the point they can barely operate. Because I know that's, like squashing a hornworm that's on your tomatoes is how they kind of see it. And I've lived in those communities. They had to be hard. They had to be that way because our government is wishy-washy and it likes to talk a good game, but when it comes to actually caring about American citizens, it's, to me, the American government, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, all of those, you get an F grade from me. when it comes to caring about your citizens. You're so busy worrying about all these foreigners and what they're doing instead of minding your own business and taking care of your home front. Now, that may be an old school attitude, but I'm kind of glad I have it, and I inherited that attitude through the teachings of my parents and watching my government work. So, okay, that was my spiel today on that, and I've done a lot of recording because I took a day off. I mean, I'm still doing a little here or there, but I just really needed to take and do some self-maintenance time, you know. So, America, I love you. I love you so very much. And Hell's Angels and the rest of the gangs, I hope you do what you say. That even though you got squabbles, you can all come together and become a force to be reckoned with. Because Americans need that kind of security because our government sure isn't giving it. Our citizens are harassed and fined over the littlest infractions, yet laws are allowing illegal immigrants to just tear apart our country. And that's Democrat policy and liberal policies. And I have never been for liberal government. Liberal government does not mean that they are open-minded. It means that it's more government in your business. And that's why most people didn't vote liberal. Democrats, you went off the deep end and jumped off a cliff, and I swear you landed on your heads, each and every one of you, because you have forgotten whose country this is. You think it's yours, but you share it with millions, hundreds of millions of other Americans, and you're not taking them into account because of how much money they make or don't make. And you're really digging a hole for yourselves that I hope you can't get out of. And I really hope the Republicans just bury you, because you have been the worst, at least for the last 30 years, Democrats have been the worst on our infrastructure, over-taxation, attacks on our children and our rights to our children. These are always Democrats and liberals, where Republicans are more conservative. I understand communities have to open their minds and grow, but we don't have to let our brains fall out. Okay? Keep that in mind. I love y'all. American Granny out. Mwah.